Hi, it's Neil Thomas here from Wedding Help, and it is episode 42 of our Wedding Help podcast. We're here in the beautiful 10 Square Hotel today, and my guest today is Allie Ford, celebrant. And Allie, I'm just going to, the elephant in the room here, people's looking at this and going, Allie Ford, celebrant, who is that person? Dympna from Give My Head Peace.
That's me.
That is you. And you're, of course, you're a celebrant.
I am. Loving it. Absolutely loving it.
You've been doing that about a year.
Yes. So I'm relatively new to the celebrant game and to the whole wedding industry.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely loving it. I'm coming up, believe it or not, on my 100th ceremony that I've performed in the last year.
Amazing.
So it's taken off in a way that I truly never expected. Obviously that's not just weddings, that's funerals and naming ceremonies and all the whole heap, vow renewals. But it's just, I can't tell you, it's just such a joyful industry.
But it's perfect for you because it's a creative, you know, and that's what we were saying before we came on today. Mm-hmm. It's creative, and you're a creative person. Of course, going if we start right back at the start, you studied acting and done all that, you know, RADA and different stuff, isn't that right?
Yeah, I did. I did a degree, and then I did a short course at RADA, and then come home broke, looking for work. And I was really lucky that one of the first jobs that I ever got was as Miss Mascara in the Penalty Points ad. So I'm like driving along, putting on my makeup and get a ticket. And I crashed the car instantly. But for real.
And it's a perfect role because you are glam anyway. So the glamming was no problem.
It was no tough ask to put on my lipstick and drive at the same time. I don't do that anymore, any peelers here watching. But yeah, so I was lucky enough to get that job, and on it I met Damon Quinn, who of course plays my brother Cal in Give My Head Peace, and is one of the writers. And at that time they were starting this new sitcom. They'd just been commissioned, and he said, you know, you should come and audition for it. I was like, okay, I will. So I got a little part in the first series. Then in the second series I played Shirley McCandless, who was Uncle Andy's ex-girlfriend. Right. So I played the 25-year-old her, which I was at the time, and then her as she came up, aged up to 50, and I came back and blackmailed him because I said that we'd had a love child. He was a priest. And he, of course, didn't want the whole of the Orange Order to know that he had a wee and a priest. So it was great fun. And then the next series, I started to play Dympna.
And I suppose here we are, 25 years later. You never thought about that. And 25 years, I'm sure whenever you started that, you know, a few wee parts here and there, you never thought in your wildest dreams.
Absolutely not. At the time, the boys said to me, what are you doing for the next year of your life? And as a self-employed gigging person, which a lot of people are,
and it's a tough industry.
It's a huge thought. You kind of go, a year? Are you mad? And then all of a sudden, here we are, and a whole lot of life has happened in between.
And it's such a journey as well. Mm-hmm. And even, like, you know, Give My Head Peace, there's such an appetite. It tours every year. And I've been to a few of the theatre shows. They're sold out.
It's brilliant fun. I think amazing. That's one thing that I'm truly grateful for, and that is that there has been there's a real nostalgia and a love for Give My Head Peace. Yeah. And it extends across all age groups, and it makes me feel really ancient sometimes when some, handsome big fella comes up to me and goes, I used to remember sitting with my granny watching you on a Friday night.
And you're saying I was only 10 whenever I started.
Is that possible? But I mean, truly, and back then, of course, we'd only like 4 TV channels, and the TV was in the living room, and everybody was in together. But there's a real, and I think people at that time, there wasn't that much proper local television, and a lot of it was really serious. Yeah. And we're not really a serious bunch of people in Northern Ireland.
But it's even at that, it's like, the only way to explain it, it's a national treasure, regional treasure, because as you say, there wasn't, you had Jerry Kelly on a Friday night.
Great Jerry.
You had Give My Head Peace. Mm-hmm. There wasn't much coming out of NI as such, so anything that was, we sort of grabbed it and brought it.
Totally.
And, we wrapped our arms around it.
And we were the only region who was permitted to opt out of, on the BBC, national scheduling because of the viewing figures and because how many people wanted to watch it. I mean, it was a phenomenon in its own time.
And I don't think, like, today's audience, and we even talked about this, everything's more changed where you everything's on demand, I suppose.
Totally.
And do you know what? Isn't that something to be said on a Friday night? Give My Headpiece came on and you knew you were... I know I was getting out of the bath, getting myself ready, coming down to the TV.
Absolutely.
And you were sitting watching that, and it was such a...
And there were jokes for kids, and there was slapstick, and then there were more satirical jokes that, might have gone over the kids' heads, but the adults appreciated.
You wouldn't have had a wider audience, it was NI wide, it was more than just, I suppose now we can pick what we like. Yes. And everybody watched that, and everybody brought on it. And, it all become part of it. Yeah, and there was a real
cohesion, because I think everybody got a bit of the Mickey taken out of them. It didn't pick on one side more than the other. Everybody got a touch. And there were always a few jokes that, we obviously recorded it live in front of an audience on a Friday night. And there'd always be the odd joke and people go, oh, like, that was a bit risque, a bit on the nub, as you took the Mickey out of, I don't know, Jerry or Ian or whoever.
Yeah. How did you find that at the time, just with, I suppose, like, there was a level of fame at that at the time, especially in the earlier days. I know you were still filming, you were doing your Christmas specials and stuff, but whenever you were doing that weekly sort of episode and stuff...
Oh, it was mad.
I'm sure you were getting them, I don't know, like selfies and stuff, and that sort of fame. How did you find that?
I was kind of lucky in some ways, to be honest, Dale, because if you think... people were only just getting phones and all that kind of thing whenever Give My Headpiece was in its early days. So it was more like people had their cameras. It wasn't like you did... it was funny. Sometimes you'd be in the supermarket and you'd suddenly see somebody over the top of the carrots taking your picture.
Yeah.
And also there was a real, we used to get invited to so many different places. So you might be up the Shankill one week, meeting a whole bunch of kids and opening something, and then you'd be up the Falls the next week and watching their Irish dancing or doing whatever. So it was such a real leveller, and you got to go everywhere. And we got such a warm welcome wherever we went because of that non-sectarian vibe.
I think it was open to everybody.
Oh,
do you know what?
It was amazing.
Everybody sort of maybe related to them characters.
Oh, absolutely.
And I suppose you knew Dympna, you knew somebody that was coming and I suppose it's
totally.
Completely different. How did you find that character?
One of the first, I love Dympna because she's a bit blousier and brassier than me and a bit more outspoken. And there was one, I had these trousers which had pictures of Marilyn Monroe, black and white pictures of Marilyn Monroe, these tight white trousers. And we were looking at them, the costume mistress and I, going, who would wear those? Next thing, we're going on to location and we pass a bus stop and there's a doll wearing my trousers. I'm like, look.
Getting out to get a photo, getting out to meet this person, and find out.
But it's so much fun playing somebody who's a much bigger version. I know I'm talkative, but Dympna's just a much more, me ramped up.
just going for it.
Yeah, totally.
And do you think people expect that then whenever they meet you? Do you sort of have to turn that?
I don't know. I think people... No, I don't know. People are very... Sometimes people know who you are and sometimes people don't.
Yeah.
Like you asked me earlier, do brides and grooms book me because of my job? And I don't think so. A lot of the brides and grooms that I've married, or the couples that I've married, have had no idea who I am, and it's only after the wedding, whenever it gets to the reception, that they go, are you Dympna from Give My Headpiece? I'll go, yeah.
That's surprising, because I did ask you, and I thought people would have been... Has anybody ever asked you actually to come as Dympna?
Well, it's quite funny. I was asked to marry somebody as Dympna, and I said, okay, let's get down to brass tacks here, because Dympna would be going, married? Are you sure? Like, is he rich? Why do you want to go? I'm not marrying you. Sick. Wise up.
So you're thinking you definitely wouldn't want that at your wedding?
No, she wouldn't do it, no.
So I suppose moving on that, how did you find Celebrant? How did that come about, or how did you find that?
I went to a wedding, and I was at a wedding, and a celebrant was leading the wedding ceremony, and I just thought to myself, this looks like the most amazing job, and I would really love to do that.
Yeah.
So fast forward a few years, and I don't know, just something. I just thought, I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna go for it, and I did, and I haven't looked back. It's been think even better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So yes, you marry that creative side in that see what I did there.
I like that.
You marry that creative side. So obviously you are taking someone's story, you're investing in that couple, you are listening to what they love about one another, what makes their story unique, what brings them together. So you have the creative side in the storytelling aspect
but I think
of
even
it.
for yourself as well, performance probably isn't the word.
No, but you do.
But you do need to go out and you need to stand in front of an audience and I suppose engage with that audience.
Oh yeah.
Do you know?
And because it's something that's live and it's different every time, each couple you work with is different, each venue is different, each, ceremony is different.
Yeah.
There's always the possibility for different things to happen or different things to go right or go wrong. And I think that's the thing about having a background of however many years in performance is that you're not really fazed by all of that. You're just kind of ready to just bring it on and I'm also quite an energetic person, so I like to bring a real fun energy to the wedding.
But I suppose as well, even learning lines and stuff.
Yeah.
As I'm sure that comes second nature to you.
Yeah.
It's something that you've developed over so many years of doing a performance. Like I'm sure whenever you were doing live shows, that had to be down to a T.
Totally.
And in a way, whenever you're going to be a celebrant at a wedding, you've got everything. It's going out there and you're hitting your marks as such.
Yeah.
So right, I've got to get this in, got to get this. And it all comes together, doesn't it?
I definitely think what you're saying, there's practical skills that you have as an actor that definitely, even sight reading, as you say, knowing like the beats of a ceremony, when to hit things, how to deliver a really engaging ceremony, how to fluctuate between a bit of humour to warmth to that kind of thing.
That's, and I think even celebrants is becoming such a big thing at weddings. Where 20 years ago, it was the local church.
There wasn't the same choice.
There wasn't the same choice. Like we were at the Beach Hill recently, doing a show around, and they were saying every 6 in 10 weddings that they do is now celebrant.
That's phenomenal, isn't it?
Led at the venue, and I don't think you would have them numbers. I
don't think you would have had those numbers even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I think as well people didn't realise that they had a choice. I think they thought it was either a church or a registry office, and whereas, the joy of being a celebrant is that you can literally, I've married a couple in my garden. Like you can get married anywhere.
But it's so personal, I think, as well. And, people, I think older people might say, oh, no, you need to get somebody who's been to weddings and celebrants. I think it's beautiful because it's so much more revolved around the couple.
Absolutely.
And you're taking out I suppose what would you call it?
Well, it no longer becomes a kind of a read by numbers script.
Yeah, and
it becomes something really individual. As you say, you invest in that couple and you really passionately tell their story. But not only that, it's all the lovely different elements that you can add in, all the different things to make their wedding day feel completely unique to that particular couple.
Yeah. And the guests, I think, are engaged so much more. Because you're telling a story about the couple and everybody knows the couple. They're in that room, so everybody's engaged. I
think that is true, and I think no matter what celebrant-led ceremony you have, whether that's, I do a lot of funerals, whether that's a funeral, the person's story is absolutely at the heart.
Yeah.
Whether it's a naming ceremony, the journey to becoming parents, whether it's a vow renewal, whether it's a wedding, it's absolutely that unique thing that makes this occasion unique.
And to you,
that you talk about.
And to you, to the couple, to the person. And I suppose a big question people, couples might have, there's different types of celebrants, there's different societies and stuff. And I suppose that can be a minefield too if you're newly engaged and you're maybe doing that planning process. I'm not sure that
any couple cares what society their celebrant belongs to, if I'm honest. I think one of the joys is finding somebody that you engage with, somebody who gets your vibe, somebody who brings whatever energy you want to the day. And I think that we as celebrants are a bit like chameleons. You know, we do try and emulate whatever each couple needs us to be.
And I suppose that's a good way as well. I know a lot of celebrants as well, they'll maybe do like a video message, or they'll do some sort of thing. And that's really important too, to get to know your celebrant. And I suppose, you know, get your own personality out, and everybody, see if you gel, like, you know.
Oh, totally. Because we have what we call a chemistry call. Either chat over a cup of coffee or whatever. And it's a really good way of working out, you know, obviously it's so nice for me because I then get to see these couples, and you kind of get a vibe of what makes them tick and the little quirks they have, and, you know, the things that both annoy and love about each other.
Yeah, of course.
And then that means that by the time we go on this journey, you know, and they come up to the top of the aisle, they're not meeting a stranger up there.
Yeah.
Like, we already have a relationship. I already kind of know what makes them tick.
Yeah.
And I kind of worried, you know, at the beginning, what if you were asked to marry someone and you didn't think that they were really in love? But that's the amazing thing. You just get to witness these people who are just cannot wait to take that next step and, you know, open that next chapter of their lives as husband and wife, or wife and wife, or husband and husband. It's amazing.
And how do you find it then, taking all this information, and is it difficult then to try and get all that, and the you know, I talked to a celebrant, and they put it great, they called it making a cake.
Yeah.
And
all the different ingredients.
And I thought that was brilliant, like, you know. And how do you find that process then of trying to...
I really love that process. So no matter what script I'm writing, be it funeral or wedding, I feel like I take copious notes. I scribble and scribble and scribble. And then whenever it comes to writing it, it's funny, you just get into this zone where suddenly all the little tiny things, you're flipping backwards and forwards. Oh, they said this there. And this would be funny to put this here. And it's just magic writing.
Yeah.
I love it, absolutely love it.
And I suppose whenever you're meeting couples, you must be nearly just watching, just, you know, you must have to, you know, you're nearly incognito, you're watching everything to find out all them wee things as well. To be honest with you,
I think that again goes back to the kind of the actor thing.
Yeah.
So I think as an actor, you are an observer of human nature, an observer of people.
That's brilliant. I never actually thought about that, and I suppose that's big.
I think there's probably a lot of things that we unconsciously clock.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of part of your training. But also, the bit about being an actor as well, you're obviously telling other people's stories, but you're kind of inhabiting a character.
Yeah.
Whereas the lovely part about being a celebrant is that you really get to celebrate other people's stories, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You get to edit the best parts of somebody's life or somebody's love story and distill it into this snapshot that people get. And I love it whenever people come up after a ceremony and they say, I didn't realise you knew the couple. Like, how long have you known? And you're like,
isn't that amazing? That must be the biggest compliment, you know. The
biggest compliment.
Yeah.
Biggest compliment.
You know,
so lovely.
To find that, you know, for somebody to come up and...
For them to believe that you're their friend.
Yeah.
So lovely.
Yeah. And it shows the effort that goes on.
I think it
shows the effort and
work.
the background. And that's something that I don't think you'll get with any, you know, you'll not get that maybe in a church. You'll not get that, you know, you can't get that.
I think in a way that's why, and my colleague Ruby the Celebrant did a fabulous little reel about it. I met
Ruby a few weeks ago.
Fabulous girl.
Fantastic.
But she did a really fantastic reel which kind of explains, I think, a bit about why a celebrant is slightly more expensive than a registrar, for example.
Yeah.
But part of it is that relationship that you develop and the fact that I'm on hand anytime my couple have a question, a worry, a rant about somebody going, you have to have 10 bridesmaids and I don't want to have 10 bridesmaids.
Do you know what? Whatever. There's a lot of pressure with weddings because I think so many people get, like, you know, family and stuff, there's so many people can get involved there. And sometimes it's just a matter of maybe taking the twos and just said, right, this is our wedding and we'll do it our way.
And I think a lot of couples come whenever we're having our couple meeting where I find out all about them and what they want to include in their ceremony. You know, they'll maybe ask you for advice and say, oh, you know, my dad says, or my auntie says, or my granny wants. And it's about, that's a useful process, I think, for them to distill what they want, and for us, and then that's my job to make that happen.
I suppose as well, it's a great point there, with grannies and stuff as well, because it's more traditional, and I suppose it's important to add them elements in, because I'm sure grannies, or maybe even mums and dads, were thinking, oh, I don't know about this, you know, it's a different.
What are you doing now? Why are you getting married such and such a place? And
but
who's marrying you?
It's very new. It's become so popular. Like as I said, I was at the Beach Hill and they were saying 6 and 10 weddings.
And you can see why, Dale, because of that personal aspect. And I think nowadays, you know, like couples are savvy. They have a lot of information at their disposal.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the way it was whenever I got married 20 years ago. You know, they have lots of choice. So I think they really want to spend their money wisely and to choose something that really makes the day more meaningful for them. And I fully am on board with that. I think
suppose that's a good thing as well. Granny shouldn't be thinking, oh, I don't know about
this. Granny's had her day.
But as well, that's good that, you know, you can incorporate all that and it's all there.
I mean, I jest. You know? Whilst everybody's had their own day, I do think it's helpful, because I think your celebrant can advise you on ways to appease and make sure that everybody feels that their feelings, or, you know, if that's what the couple wants, that everybody feels that they've got their say, or some elements that might appeal to granny, you know, certain types of readings or music or different things that you can do to bring everybody on board.
And that's one thing as well.
And lots of people now have kids as well.
Yeah.
You know, lots of people are getting married and they already have children, and that's another element that they maybe, or they're blending families.
Yeah.
They want to
incorporate all this together.
And there's lovely little rituals and special elements that you can include that make sure that everybody feels that they're part of this, which is really what it's about. It is about celebrating the couple's love, but really pushing them off into the next chapter of their lives. And that involves the people, their children or their nearest and dearest as well.
Yeah. Have you any favourite venues or anywhere you've been and you've thought, my goodness,
Am I allowed to say
you're not good? I like everywhere. I love it all, you know.
Truthfully, I haven't been anywhere I have not liked yet.
There's some beautiful
locations. Oh my goodness,
there?
There's some places that blow you away. But also, I think this is what was missing when I got married myself 20 years ago, was that there was a kind of a one size fits all. You had to go to, the choices were really about going to a big hotel, having a big ballroom filled with people, and that was that. Whereas now I can see there is so much choice. If you want to have a beach elopement and then you want to have an intimate dinner, we can do that. If you want to have the full bells and whistles with 200 guests, well, we can do that too. If you want to have, you know, like everybody go and stay in teepees and have a countryside wedding,
it's all
that's
there.
possible.
It's all there.
I mean, I'm marrying somebody in a forest next year. I cannot wait.
Beautiful.
It will be gorgeous. So I just think those choices that didn't exist are, which obviously makes it a bit harder for our poor couples now because there's so much choice. But I do think it'll make them have a more memorable personal day at the end.
I think it's your wedding and it's your way, and I suppose that's a big thing as well. You know, there is so much choice out there, but don't feel that you have to do it the way somebody else does. I think there's so much choice in everything, whether it be room decor, whether it be do you know, like there's so much going on now, whereas years ago it was, well, that's your seat covers there and that's what you get, and that's that's how that is.
And what if you don't want seat covers?
I
mean, you talk about fame. I got married like 20 years ago. Whenever Give My Headpiece was huge, I had a tiny ceremony with just our families and a dinner, and then actually came to this very hotel for a big massive party afterwards.
There we go, some great memories here.
Oh, brilliant memories. For like, you know, 200 people for a party after we came home from our honeymoon, and it was amazing. But people were looking at me like, is that what you want to do? Why do you only want to get married with like 30 people? Really? Why? And by candlelight, what? Whereas now that would be completely normal.
Oh, of course. And like, you know, I've even like they've 2 rooms here, and I've seen me doing smaller weddings, and do you know what? there's something about that as well. I
It can be
always
so
say,
beautiful, Dale.
oh, I've done weddings with 30, 40 people, and you know what? Every guest is nearly like a big bridal party. That's the only way to explain it, that everybody becomes part of it.
Absolutely.
And everybody's nearly, it's special. That's the way. So I think, find what you enjoy.
Finding something that reflects your personalities.
Yeah.
And that is where a celebrant comes in and can really help you make that dream happen.
Yeah. Have you done any abroad weddings or anything yet?
No, I haven't, although my colleague Danielle Tyvenot and I did a stunning wedding abroad with her husband Mark Barnes, and I was going, how did she get that gig?
I know. I was out last year. I was out last year in Italy.
No way!
And it was beautiful. A couple flew me out of Dublin and they
Wow!
out to beside Rome, and it was beautiful. So it was lovely.
Well, now I did get married in Rome myself.
Oh, did you?
So Dympna got married 20
of course.
20 something years ago, in a papal palace by the Pope in Rome. So beat that if you can.
And you can watch that.
Yes,
You can watch that, of course.
Yeah, it kind of frightens me now. I look at this young little
it's
kid
funny,
that I
but
was.
even you watch Give My Headpiece and the cast, it's mad they think it's 25. Until I started listening to the podcast, I didn't actually realise that the guys were all the same and around the same age.
Yeah.
And Tim, of course, da.
Yeah, because they're all about 60.
And Cal, or who's playing his son.
Yeah, I know.
I think Cal might be older. I can't remember. I think hearing that.
I think you're right, actually.
I think hearing that in the podcast, and I was just blown away.
Yeah, they're all much of a muchness sort of coming. I think Marty's birthday is first, and then Damon, Michael, and Tim.
That's scary, that's scary.
I know, it's so funny, isn't it?
But I'm sure it's amazing, because whenever you watch it, I think it just, it's sort of, you
the
don't
BBC
think
were celebrating in Northern Ireland, were celebrating their 75th anniversary, and we did a lovely gig down in Enniskillen for them. We sat on the stage, and they had like a big projector, and they showed clips, and I just looked, and the worst thing was, my daughter's now 19. I'm going, oh my goodness. That up there looks more like her than me.
Yeah. But you know what? You still watch Give My Headpiece, and even the likes of Cal, you still, I don't know, maybe just associate the characters because you've associated them so long, and you nearly just look at them. And,
well, we have had to update the opening title sequence a few times with more up-to-date photographs. I think Dympna's the only one who's really changed her hairstyle over the years, and obviously, most of the clothing budget actually goes on my clothes as well.
And the
I
hair,
think Dan's still wearing the same tweedy suit that he's worn.
And the hair and everything.
Yeah,
has to be
totally.
done,
Oh, I love getting the wig on. That's whenever you feel like, now I'm Dympna. That and the high heels, I'm not.
So there we go. And what's the easiest way then to get in contact with you or find you online and stuff as well?
Well, I'm on the Humanist Society NI website. I am on Instagram, NI Celebrant, and I have my website, nicelebrant.com.
Fantastic.
So come and find me.